Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun Run, and today we're making chocolate banana muffins. I love this recipe because it comes together so quickly and so easily, and it's so full of flavor. It makes a fair bit of muffins, more than your average 12-count recipe, but these store really well. They're great for freezing. Let's get right into it. You'll preheat your oven to 375 degrees, and let's talk bananas. The riper, browner, and spottier your bananas are, the better your muffins will be, the more flavorful and sweeter they will be. This is all I have right now because I have used all of my other brown bananas testing this recipe. These will work, but you are going to have the best results with more ripe bananas. You can see they're not green or anything. I just usually like them a little more well done. You'll need a cup of bananas for this recipe. I feel like I've said bananas a bunch of times, and that's a cup of mashed bananas or 260 grams. I'll just measure out 260 grams of bananas and then we'll mash them up. Kitchen scale is the way to go for baking, let me tell you. Saves dishes, it will make your baking more accurate. Highly recommended. Let's go ahead and get these mashed up. Just using a potato masher, but you could just use a fork. All right, once that's well mashed, we're going to add a half cup of sour cream. Grab my spatula. So this is 120 grams. The sour cream is really nice for adding a good depth of flavor. It doesn't make the muffins taste like sour cream. I know some people worry about that. Sour cream is one of my favorite ingredients for making baked goods nice and tender and very flavorful. Plain Greek yogurt should work in a pinch if you don't have sour cream. We are also going to be using 1/3 cup, which is like 5 1/3 tablespoon of melted unsalted butter. So this is melted and it's also cooled so it's not super warm to the touch. Put this in with the banana. Use my spatula because we do not waste butter around here. Also going to need 1 large egg. Ideally this will be at room temperature. Always crack it in a separate bowl. And I'm just going to lightly scramble this before I add it into my other ingredients. It'll just help everything incorporate well. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This beautiful vanilla flex. I say that in every video, so you're probably tired of hearing that, but when you make your own vanilla extract, you become very proud of it. All right, let's go ahead and whisk this up. Whisk everything together until it's nice and smooth. You want everything well combined at this step because once we get to the point of combining our wet and dry ingredients, you have to be very careful not to overmix. This will make it easier once we get to that part. All right, we're not totally done with this just yet. I'm just going to slide it out of the way, and in a separate dish or measuring cup, something heat proof, we are going to add our cocoa powder. We're using a half cup or 50 grams of natural cocoa powder for this recipe. And to this cocoa powder, we are going to add a half cup of very hot, it should be steaming or boiling water. Hurry up and add this before it cools down. And we're going to whisk the cocoa powder and water together until the cocoa powder is completely absorbed with the water. You shouldn't have any lumps remaining. This step, it's something I do in some of my other chocolate recipes, like my chocolate muffins. I believe I do this. And what we're doing is we're blooming the cocoa powder. So we're going to get a really nice, rich cocoa powder flavor. Otherwise, the chocolate flavor can fall a little bit flat. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but to me, that would just be sad. So we're whisking this together. And let's pull back our banana mixture. And we'll mix this in with our banana ingredients. It already smells so good and chocolatey. Just wait till they're baking. All right, we'll whisk this together. And it won't be completely smooth because you've got banana in there and there are going to be some lumps. So don't worry if it's a little lumpy, but do work to get everything well combined. You want a nice, well combined mixture. Man, somebody got mad at me for repeating myself too much the other day. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Sometimes I forget my words. I'm not sleeping that well these days. I have a 9-month-old. So. All right, we'll be back to our chocolate mixture in a second. For now, we need a separate mixing bowl. To this, we're going to add 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour. This is 210 grams. And we'll add 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. You don't need a ton of sugar for this recipe because the bananas are going to add a lot of sweetness. I don't know why I'm whisking it yet. We're not done adding our ingredients. You'll also need 1½ teaspoons of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Let's whisk that together. All right, now I always like to add my wet ingredients, my spatula, my wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. I just feel like I'm able to combine things better that way. Maybe you do just as well, adding your dry to your wet. We're going to do it this way. It might just be in my head. I feel like I have to mix less if I do it this way. And this recipe is very easy to do like completely by hand, so no mixer needed, but this step, it is especially critical that you do not use like an electric mixer. So if you were using that before, turn it off, use a spatula. Because anytime you're making muffins or like a quick bread, you want to be very careful that you don't overmix. So spatula is going to allow us to stir everything together, just folding it. without overdoing it. If you overdo it, your muffins will be dense and they'll be dry and they'll be crumbly and everyone will be sad. Now this is a slightly stiff muffin batter. It's not super liquidy. That's to be expected. Oh, and I usually stop here. I actually went a little further than I like to. I like to stop when the ingredients are about halfway combined, the wet and dry. And here I'll add my chocolate chips. This is 1 cup of chocolate chips. I'm using a blend of mini and regular chips. You can use whichever you prefer. And we'll fold these into the batter as well without overdoing it, which is why you should add them when you're like halfway through combining instead of at the very end. But we'll be okay. And this recipe makes more than 12 muffins. I usually get about 15 muffins out of it. So I've lined 2 muffin tins with paper liners. And as you can see, I have not filled every hole. So I just filled like 15 of these and I've alternated because alternating is going to give the muffins a little bit more room to rise and get a nicer muffin top on them. And just another quick note about this batter, it's not completely smooth. That's okay, that's desirable, but it is well combined. Let's just do one of these for now. I just like to use an ice cream scoop or large cookie scoop to distribute the batter. It's the easiest way to do it. I'm just gonna scrape the last of that batter out. I wanna use all of it. Now before I bake these, I like to add a couple of chocolate chips on top, just for show. So we're going to bake these trays one at a time, letting the muffins rest on the counter while the first one bakes. It's actually pretty good for them. It's going to give them even taller muffin tops. If you want to let both of them rest for 15 minutes before baking them, that's fine too. So these are going to bake in the center rack of our 375° Fahrenheit preheated oven. They need to bake about 17 to 19 minutes. We're going to insert a toothpick in the center and that should come out clean or with a few moist crumbs. Now, after the muffins are finished baking, you're not going to want to let them sit in the muffin tin for too long. If you've ever had like a muffin where the bottom was really oily or greasy, it's probably because it cooled completely in the muffin tin. We'll let them cool down a little bit for like 5 minutes and then we'll carefully pry them out of the muffin tin and transfer them to a cooling rack where we will let them cool completely or until, we won't burn ourselves when we bite into them before we enjoy them. Get that last one. Here's our second batch. Aren't these beautiful? Like that is a good muffin. Honestly, I think our second batch baked up even prettier than our first batch, and that is probably thanks to the fact that they rested an extra almost 20 minutes. And that is how you make these chocolate banana muffins. If you try them, let me know what you think. I really do always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. All right, which one do you want?
This one.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one. They're still a little warm. Sometimes they'll try to come off in the liners if you open them warm, so just be careful of that. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's try them. Yeah?
Yeah.
How many stars?
18.8.
18.8? Okay.
1888.
Okay, I'll take it. So they're really good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think they're really good. How many stars are possible in the whole world?
99 and 10,000.
Okay, so I'm trying to decide if that's a good rating or not. The riper and browner and spottier your bananas, said that funny, your bananas. How many thumbs up do you give it?
18.
Okay, that's Thanks.